going to cause great social unrest.
Florida. The governor issuing a state of emergency as it strengthens
political reality. We have U.S. President Donald Trump, who has pulled the United States out of the Paris Climate Accord. He's not alone. There are a number of
expected to be a very dangerous next several days. Al Roker has been tracking Florence every step of the way. He has the very latest on what's in store.
Still dangerous, even though at a category 2. Don't pay attention to that because the storm surge is still going to be powerful.
Hurricane Dorian whipping up waves in the northeast. This is what it looks like this morning off the coast of Cape Cod with winds and rough surf.
Further south, Dorian leaving hardest hit with massive flooding and power outages. Some saying they've never seen it this bad.
Climate change is an emergency.
We cannot see ourselves as separate from the planet. Every part of our world depends on the environment. This is not just an environmental crisis. This is a political crisis, an economic crisis, and most of all, this is a humanitarian crisis.
Climate change is causing an increase in droughts, tropical storms, coastal flooding, desertification, disease risk, food and water shortages, wildfires, and a multitude of other global issues we will eventually be forced to address.
We now know that nearly 1 million animal and plant species are at risk of extinction. Global extinction rates rising over the last century, leading to what some scientists are calling a sixth mass extinction.
In the past year, carbon dioxide levels in the atmosphere have risen higher than they have in millions of years, peaking at levels up to 415 ppm. 50% of all human emissions have occurred in the last 30 years, causing the fastest ever rise in global temperatures.
This July, 321 million people were affected by a widespread heat wave in Europe. It broke record temperatures, reaching up to 45.9 degrees Celsius. The heat wave in France in particular has caused nearly 1,500 deaths this summer.
Our world is changing. People will adapt to the impacts of climate change.
The only question is if we will change out of choice or out of necessity.
So, are we screwed?
Nope, not yet.
We need a large-scale, proactive approach to dealing with climate change before it's too late. To get that, everyone needs to send a clear message to our leaders that this is the most important issue of our time.
Climate change is not a new topic. It has been talked about, advocated for, increased due to our careless actions, and immediately impacted us in response to those actions, and it has been treated as a lesser issue by those who have the power to aid our world's desperate situation.
It's really easy for everyone to get caught up in the day-to-day of life. Completing school, going to work to put food on the table, taking care of family, and seeing friends. And those things are essential, but we also must take time to keep informed and take action on climate change, because this will impact everything else we do.
So the young generation of today, those are the people who really have to start making a great stand to try to get people to focus and make changes for the planet.
We live in a time when anyone with an internet connection has the ability to shout out their message to the world. And there are so many uninformed and biased voices out there that it's easy to get confused and distracted. Make sure that the voices you listen to are backed by evidence and research. Also make sure that your own voice is heard by engaging our political leaders in conversation and going to the polls to vote.
One thing we must realize is that climate change is caused by us. Not any one of us in particular, but the human race as a whole. We are consumers, we consume animal products, we support large companies and corporations who couldn't care less about climate change, and we participate in the use of our land's natural resources. All of these things are causing not only the warming of our planet, but we are leaving quite a massive pile of artificial waste scattered on our world. How we spend our money affects our planet, and if we are giving our money to those who are efficiently destroying it, we can't expect anything less than destruction.
So, sadly, the future generation has to repair a lot of the damage that was caused by previous generations. I want my grandchildren and my grandchildren's children to have a beautiful place to live. So if that means me having to make a few changes, I'm happy to do that.
The past inactions of governments and corporations are not intentionally destructive, but they are blatantly unacceptable as the world realizes the immediacy and scale of climate change impacts. Our generation will become responsible for climate change in the future, and we all have a part to play in the shift to sustainability. Climate change is not your fault. There is no one group, government, industry, or generation to blame for climate change, but you are part of a global community facing a crisis, and it's everyone's responsibility to get involved.
Governments and corporations have responsibility to fix their mistakes, as do we, and we need to hold everyone accountable, because we are the citizens.
Politicians,
Teachers, activists,
Voters, and leaders of tomorrow.
climate change is a global issue that requires collective action from individuals, communities, governments, and increasingly, activists.
United global strikes around the world are helping to create a worldwide front for climate action, with youth leading the way to pressure society and government into meaningful environmental change that will have a strong and lasting impact on the future. From September 20th to 27th, millions of youth and adults alike will lead the third global strike for climate action in over 150 countries worldwide. This time, we're asking you to raise your voice.
On Thursday, September 26th, join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us.
Join us. Join us.
Join us.